Hey, hello, and welcome to the Fisher Protocol, the show where saying The Who is the greatest rock and roll band of all time is not subjective, but everything else is. Please take a quick second to like, subscribe, and share with your Who-minded friends. The Who is a passion of ours. Is it a passion of yours? It should be. Anyway, this is more of a personal journey. No money is made from these videos, so liking and subscribing lets us know that we're not alone in Wholand. Constructive feedback is always welcome, either in the comments below, or you can follow me as I spout Who-related content on Twitter and Instagram at Fisher Protocol. I am Ethan, and I'm being joined today by my best Who friends, Tom, Betts, and Angie. We do not claim to be experts, just four fans who like to talk about the greatest rock and roll band of all time, and that's The Who. Hey, guys.
Hey.
What's up?
Hello.
It's been so long since we've gotten together. This is great.
I know.
All right, so we'll get right to it. Earlier in our show's history, we did an album. We've done White City. We did All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes, which is my personal favorite. But today we're going to be talking about the Who's Next of solo Pete Townshend albums, right? The most successful. It's got some of the best songs on it, for sure. I have nothing but positive things to say about Pete Townshend's Empty Glass, which was released on April 21st, 1980. The album, and this is from Wikipedia, the album deals with issues that Townshend was struggling with at the time, including alcoholism, drug abuse, marital problems, and deceased friends, particularly Keith Moon, The Who's former drummer who died in 1978. Empty Glass also contained the devotional love song Let My Love Open the Door, which became a top 10 hit, number 9 in the USA, and had some other moderately successful singles with Rough Boys and A Little Is Enough. And here's a quote from Pete. I called it Empty Glass because of this idea that when you go to a tavern, which is to God, you know, and you ask for his love, he's the bartender, you know, and he gives you a drink, and what you have to give him is an empty glass. You know there's no point in giving him your heart if it's full already. There's no point in going to God if your heart is full of Doris, which is, I had to look that up, means bountiful. Mm-hmm. So it's a weird mix. He intersperses Meher Baba so perfectly with what could be romantic love for a man or a woman on this album. That's hard to differentiate sometimes what they are, but I mean, overall, I love this album. Angie, what do you think of it?
It's a solid album. I think of all the solo Who, albums, I definitely prefer Pete's ones. I definitely prefer Pete's more solo work, and then I'd say John would be my second favorite, obviously. And then, I mean, Keith just wasn't enough. And then Roger, we don't talk about Roger.
Well, yeah, let's not go there today. Tom?
Yeah, this is my favorite Pete album for sure. Not that any of them are bad, but this is the one I'll return to more often than the other ones.
Beth?
As a John stan, I'm going to say this. Empty Glass is kind of the gold standard of Who solo albums. It really is. And I say that as a John stan, but it is just a fantastic record. It's a 5-star record.
Okay, definitely. I feel that way. I'm going to say this more than once this time. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's really boring. I'm sorry I keep saying it, but a lot of these songs, my favorite version is on live at the Fillmore in '96, because that's where I first heard them.
Right.
And that is not. That is the case with the first song, Rough Boys. I might have heard that first on the Join Together 1989 live version of the song. Before we get started on it, it's widely known or rumor or whatever that a lot of these songs were held off of It's Hard, not It's Hard, Face Dances, because Pete.
Yeah.
The rumor is Pete was stockpiling for this album. I don't know if that's true or not. It certainly sounds like it's true if you listen to Face Dances and you listen to this. For sure.
Kenny Jones basically said that was what was going on. So,
and I think he's the drummer on Rough Boys too.
Yeah, he's definitely on this album.
Yeah. And they also get into the fact that maybe in books I've read that Roger wouldn't sing songs like Rough Boys the way Pete does because it's so homoerotic, that kind of thing. Which makes sense to me that Roger wouldn't sing that. I don't know. Maybe he would now. Maybe he's more sensitive. I don't know. But yeah, Rough Boys, the album opener is an amazing song.
Yeah, that's yeah. What a way to start an album. Again, it's maybe it just shows what Pete Townshend knows about how to put an album together. But yeah, every album starts super strong, and this one definitely does that too. And it's that frenetic energy is a good way to get things going for sure.
I know from personal experience, it's a great living room guitar song to play.
Yes.
Angie, Rough Boys, anything?
I just love when the Who and Pete Townshend definitely, or any rock star really, they do LGBT themed songs. Being part of the community myself, I just love seeing that representation, and it was definitely there for me when I just felt like I didn't fit into the community as a classic rock fan, because it's very hard, in real life to find other LGBT classic rock fans. Like, I certainly didn't find that in university because, what was in was just, poppy music, mainstream stuff. And just seeing that representation in classic rock and showing that you don't have to like disco and poppy music and show tunes to be gay, that just meant a lot.
Yeah, and on that, after I realized that, I guess that whole debate, there was a whole debate going around when you're younger, and I discovered Freddie Mercury, and I wore out my Live at Wembley, VHS over and over again. No one after that was going to tell me what their idea of a man was, and that wasn't a man, or whatever. You know what I mean? Or that person was less than anyone, because it's basically a god walking on stage, right? So when you do your deep dives, right, into like Pete Townshend and what he was doing and the things he said in Rolling Stone about how he was a woman, like that, these people were my heroes. So it was very easy for me to be accepting, when that was going on. So yeah, that's
it was really funny when I was a teenager getting into classic rock. I remember, I'd just be watching those videos on my phone because at that time, I finally had an iPhone the last year of secondary school. I would watch these videos at lunch, and then one of my ex-friends, not going to go into why we're not friends anymore, but he was just like, those guys that you listen to look gay. And I was like, no, I was like, oh, come on. I mean, just because they dress a certain way doesn't mean anything. And then I'm like, holy crap, I find out like, what, a quarter of the British invasion's bisexual now? Whoa.
Yeah, and did you tell them to go have fun at their Judas Priest concert? That's what you should do. Okay, so I Am an Animal, another song.
Oh,
did anyone have Rough Boys?
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'm going to come at this being considerably somewhat older than the rest of y'all. I bought Empty Glass when it was new. And I remember being really feeling gaslit about Rough Boys, because I heard it and I was like, are y'all hearing what I'm hearing? And of course I consumed everything that I could find about the Who in print and in media, and they would talk about the album. They would never talk about the subject matter of Rough Boys. And I was like, this sounds like a gay song. It's I mean, and they didn't seem to want to talk about it. But or if they did bring it up, they would blow it off, or Pete would blow it off, or whatever. And of course, he's made statements and he's walked them back, and he's made them and he's walked them back again, and all that kind of thing. But it was a fairly big song, and it was played on the radio a lot. It was played on our version of MTV, which was called Rock World. But we just never seemed to talk about it. And I think it was really telling that Roger, wanted to do the song, but Pete was not willing to change the lyrical content. So that's what I have to say about it. Like I said, it felt like he was making a huge statement, and a statement at a time when there was Disco Demolition Night and Disco Sucks, and we all know what that was about. I kind of, it made a huge impact, at least on me, and I think on a lot of people. And there's times I wish he had sort of pushed it forward, but then I kind of get that too, that it would have had an impact, but maybe not in a positive way for him, knowing the Who's demographic in that era, 1980. So that's
And honestly, I don't remember, and maybe it was more so with Rough Boys, but I don't remember much deep diving into his lyrics in general during promotional things.
Yeah.
Unless it was like a really deep Rolling Stone interview or something.
Right.
Just because, quite frankly, he's too intellectual for most Rolling Stone readers, as far as I'm concerned. Which is a good segue into I Am an Animal.
Yeah.
Simply because, and this is where I get all overexcited about things, because I'm listening to this in the car with my family, because I'm like, hey, I didn't listen to these albums like I was supposed to. We have to listen to them in the car. And my wife was like, I'm a vegetable, right? You're a vegetable. I'm like, yes, he's a vegetable. He gets, he's thinking deep down inside about what it's like for him and how he feels like if he's getting pulled in different directions. You know what I mean? And he has all this sensitive guy, but it's this rage that usually is given voice in Roger Daltrey, but he's using it now for his thoughts. Like I said, we're not diving in the depths of, hobbits and Mordor and, it's only rock and roll and I like it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We're going into these deep, metaphors for himself. Again, a Fillmore one for me. It's just him on the guitar. It sounds great. Tom, are you an animal?
Yeah, it's a good song. It's one I somehow wasn't that familiar with until I don't know if I just have, when I listen to the album, it's like I step away at that time. I don't know. It's just one of those weird ones that slipped through the cracks a little bit, despite how much I've put this album on. So, I was doing a little homework last night. Yeah, it's a good song. I do enjoy it. The vocals on it aren't my favorite, and maybe that's why I've tuned it out in the past. But it's just that style, I think, of how he sings it.
And I think if I didn't hear that other version first and like that so much, I wouldn't like this as much, because I think the live one I sent you is a stronger vocal.
Yes.
And anytime it's just Pete having to connect with an audience and just a guitar, it's always more powerful than anything that's in the studio.
Agreed. Yeah.
Angie, anything on the Animals? I Am an Animal.
As always, I mean, this is just gonna be a general comment, throughout, this album, and every time that Pete takes the lead vocals in The Who, I just love. There's nothing like hearing Townshend singing Townshend. There's nothing like it. I love Roger's voice, but Townshend singing Townshend, the songwriters singing their own songs.
Yeah.
I think that's where you really get the real meaning of the song.
And they take on a completely different meaning when he does it too. Behind Blue Eyes is a great example. It moves so much differently when he does it, but it still moves. So
yeah. He has a real vulnerability in his vocals that Roger doesn't have. I don't know if y'all saw that tweet recently and I forget who tweeted it, but it was something to the effect of, Pete writes songs and it's like, I'm an adulterer and I'm an alcoholic and I have all these problems, and he writes the song and then they're sung by a guy who's literally let's get rich and beat up 100 guys.
I remember that tweet. That was
and I was like, that's it. That's the Who right there.
It's almost like it's the work of an art student being sung by a sheet metal worker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I Moved was very surprising to me, because it wasn't one that popped out for me when I listened to this album. It's not the songs that come to mind. Apparently the rumor is that he said it might have been written for Bette Midler.
It was, yeah.
It was. But then again, it's one of those things where it's like, it's about love for a person. Maybe a man, maybe a woman. I don't know if it's specifically a man or not. But it's also very interchangeable with Meher Baba, which I find a lot of his songs are.
Yeah, he's really good at walking that tightrope of your mystery or whatever. You're not sure who he's talking about, but a lot of people have felt those feelings, at some point in their life, about whatever relationship that they're in.
Angie, did you particularly like this one?
As far as this, I like this one a lot. This is actually one of my favorites on the album. I think what I liked about it was it almost kind of had a disco sort of Giorgio Moroder kind of vibe to it, and I can't explain why. but it definitely had that kind of disco sound, and I liked that.
I will say, and I will say that And I Moved also Gonna Get Ya towards the end also has that vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we should talk more about that later because Giorgio Moroder, that's a buzzword for me. Betsy, do you have anything else on
Yeah, it was written for Bette Midler, and I guess he was really interested in doing a song with her because she had done The Rose in 1980, and her management was like, "Okay, cool, write us a song. She likes it a little dirty." So he wrote this song, and they sent it to her, and they sent it back, and they rejected it, and he was like, "But you said," and they were like, "Well, this is smutty," which I don't see at all. I'm with y'all. I see it could work interchangeably with spirituality or sexuality. It's a beautiful song, absolutely gorgeous. And he talked later about how he discovered that that female Who fans existed because of this song. So yeah, we're there. We exist.
I still laugh at that "Let's Play for the Boys" line in that Sellout documentary. That lives in my head rent free.
We shan't be speaking badly of the Divine Miss M on this show, ever.
No.
Her.
Yeah.
But it's very weird that she's going for this big audience at this time. When we all know her start was, I guess, in the bathhouses, right?
With Barry Manilow.
With Barry Manilow in the bathhouses.
Yes.
That's where the music was really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Music is always better in gay clubs, and I'll fight on that hill. I'll die on that hill. I'll die on that hill. Then again, I like disco, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Also, I got a little really cheesy because in my mind he's singing to Mayor Bava, and it's kind of like how I feel about Pete. It has that thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. All right, we'll skip the next one. It's not very good. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if you get a better song than "Let My Love Open the Door," like, ever. Go ahead, Betsy. What were you gonna say?
It's so weird to me that he'll dismiss the song. Oh, it's just a little ditty he'll say, but it's so good, and it was a real breakout hit. It was all over the radio when it came out. I mean, it's wonderful. It's a beautiful song, but he's kind of dismissive of it, that puzzles me slightly.
When you write things like "I Am an Animal" or "Slit Skirts," the thing with "Let My Love Open the Door" or "You Better You Bet" or "I Can't Explain," this is the type of song he has mastered in his sleep. He could throw one of these together today. Yesterday. I don't think they mean that much because he's so good at it. It's so easy. It's not something he needs to master.
Yeah.
Because he mastered it when he was 20.
True.
Yeah. Let me get.
I mean, this song is still relevant these days. You know what I mean? There's people who love this song who've never heard of The Who or anything. They couldn't tell you who sings this song.
Yeah.
But it's still that relevant.
Well, we just said in that Teenage Cancer Trust show they did it, and Roger sang it, and which is not a thing I think they should do. I think they should do it. I think Pete should sing it. You know what I mean? But that's okay. It was just in that movie, The Adam Project. That's why he said on that show it was in that Netflix movie, and he did it because for some reason there were 60,000 people in Shazam looking up the song to find out who did it because of the movie. So it's popular. Angie, do you like this song?
Oh, I love it. I love this song. I mean, that's why, I think of Pete Townshend as a poet. Like, you look at the lyrics, that is poetry, just set to music. And it's one of those examples of just because it's a popular song doesn't mean that we have to be all contrarian about it. I mean, we can admit that these popular songs are good. I mean, they're classics. They're played on the radio for a reason. This is objectively an amazing song.
Yep. Roger Daltrey posted that thing of his 10 favorite songs, and they're all hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's not like, oh, I got to find the deep cut or whatever. You know what I mean?
Like sometimes you have to, be like, hey, it's okay to like popular things. You don't have to be hipster all the time.
And I love the E. Cola mix from that Grosse Point Blank soundtrack. And I love that version of the song.
It is great.
I just think the song is good in all forms, and it's a song. I don't know, Tom, if we listen to that one, I have the stem for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's a good one to have too.
it's great. But my favorite album on the record. Did anyone have anything else to say about "Let My Love Open the Door"?
It's perfect. Perfect
I
song.
did see. I know Ethan's a huge Eddie Vedder fan, but I did get to see Eddie Vedder do this solo at the Lyric when I saw him, like,
Wow.
2009 or something like that. It was just him and a guitar. It was badass. There might have been a ukulele. I can't remember, but it was unreal.
The power of the song in general is so strong that almost anyone could do it. I think Steve Carell did it in a movie, Dan in Real Life or something like that. Steve Carell performed it. And, Fillmore, that Fillmore show, it opens with the best "Let My Love Open the Door" I've ever heard. So, cool. But it's not my favorite song on the album.
Continue.
My favorite song on the album is Jules and Jim. I'm always surprised by it. I'm always surprised by the veracity of it when I find out what it's about. Which I'm sure, Beth, if you did the research, I'll let you tell the people what it's about. I just love it. Yeah.
Pete was pissed. Julie Burchill and Tony Parsons, journalists. Tony Parsons, they had written a book called "The Boy Looked at Johnny," and it was all sort of about how punk rock had sold out, that it never reached its potential, it reached its promise. And Pete had a really good relationship with a lot of punk rock kids. Digressing just a quick minute, John and Pete kind of had the same idea about punk rock, was that we did this in '66, but John was like, we did it in '66 and I'm not interested, it's already been done. Pete was sort of like, we did it in '66, but we dropped the torch, and these kids are going to pick it up and they're going to live out that promise that we started. And this book was sort of saying they lost the thread, punk is dead, it's over. And they compared Keith Moon to Sid Vicious, was just squalid. And they said something to the effect of, Keith Moon just drove his Rolls Royces into swimming pools. Who needs that? We're glad he's dead. And remember that, 78, Keith dies. 79 is Cincinnati. This album comes out in 80. There's a whole lot of trauma here that I don't think that any of the guys really kind of processed. I mean, they went right back to work, and to see this in the paper, and you have to understand too, Julie Burchill's she's a troll. She had some real salty take about Ian Curtis's death too. I mean, and so he was upset, and so he wrote this song about them, and it was going to be called Jules and Tone. I mean, changed it to Jules and Jim because that's a kind of a well-known French New Wave film by Truffaut. And it's savage. It's absolutely savage. And it's all, you're better than us. You're better than anybody, Jules and Jim. And, at the end, he kind of sets that little tone of forgiveness. We could all get together, but he was really, really angry, and understandably so. And that's, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And this is a diss track, Angie.
Yeah, I got to write that down for my list, because I was listening to this album yesterday, but I wasn't looking at the lyrics too much because I had a lot of other things going on.
Right on.
But yeah, I'm gonna definitely explore that.
Tom, did you like it?
It's a good rocker, man. It's good energy, good everything. It's nice to just see some of the just ferocity coming out of Pete. Angry Pete's fun Pete sometimes.
Angry Pete is fun Pete sometimes, and I love the energy of it.
Yes.
The only song I have in my brain when I'm in the garden or outside mowing is "Keep On Working." I love it. I love the middle eight. I love the big pianos on it. Yeah, it's a great song. How do you guys feel?
Agreed.
Yeah. Bets, anything on that?
Fun fact, when you the first time you invited me on the show, I was sort of mulling it over because I was really nervous, and I walked out my door and some guy rode on a bike playing it, and I was like, it's a sign.
That's wild.
Okay, yeah, great. I mean, you have to come now. You're the one who does the background on the songs, so I can just say what I hear now, and I don't have to.
I'm sorry.
come
I'm
out with the
sorry.
history. No, it's fine. I don't like doing
Okay.
that.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah. Angie, did you like this one?
I like this one. Yeah.
Right on. All right. So, Cats in the Cupboard wasn't one I was very familiar with, but it's got that Peter Hope Evans on the harmonica, a sound that comes very, very, very important to Pete, like from here on out. Like, he's on almost every album from now on doing his harmonica thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not my favorite track on the album. Doesn't do anything for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I totally forgot it existed.
It's not an actively disliked song. I don't have any of those on this album, but
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah, I don't hit next when the song comes on, but I don't seek it out either.
Right. Bets, you got anything?
It's hard to find a lot about this song. The only thing I can think of is that when it came out, the final line about cool for cats, it's cool for rats. Squeeze had a song called Cool for Cats, which was a pretty big hit prior to this. So I think it's referencing that, but that's really all I have on the song. It's great. It's a good writer, good sort of driver, but yeah, it's not a lot out there on this.
Yeah, it's the less you ask me to talk about Cure, the better it is for everybody. Oh wait, I'm thinking of Love Cats. What song am I thinking of? Love Cats? Okay.
Yeah.
A Little Is Enough. Now, the first time I heard this song was on the Join Together, the '89.
Yeah.
I really like the song a lot. It's one of the best Pete Townshend songs as far as lyrical content goes. What is it? The Oyster Line, and the Heroin Line. And apparently it was written after a fight with Karen, where she admitted she still loved him a little bit. Angie, did you like A Little Is Enough?
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Pete solo standard that he does at all the shows.
Yeah, as it should. And it's, again, I mean, between this and Let My Love Open Your Door, like that, those two songs endure the test of time and still hang out. And if they went viral next week, it wouldn't surprise me. You know what I mean? Like they're just both so good.
And,
Would be great to see the Who go viral more often, just so we have more people to talk about the Who with.
Yes.
hopefully we'll get a clip this week when they're on Colbert, or last week.
Yes.
When they were on Colbert.
Huh.
A Little Is Enough, Betsy. Anything?
It's for me. It's kind of like You Better You Bet. I like the horny Pete era. So yeah, it's one of those songs, and it is really just a really good one. Really good one.
And it takes us to Empty Glass, which is, of course, the title track of the album, right? This is, again, why he's one of my favorite writers ever. Because, like, this is a third or fourth reference I can count. One of them's by John of, the guitar and looking cool with the guitar and what that means to a person standing in a mirror, looking at themselves with a guitar. And whether they're the star or not, whether they're just in the fantasy, sometimes it's good enough for them. Does it make sense? So, yeah. And the Who did a version of this for Face Dances that he didn't keep because he didn't keep it. And it sounds great here. Tom, you got anything on it?
Yeah, kind of. I would agree with what you said there. It'd been a while since I'd listened to this album in general, and that song was one that I remember really liking, but it kind of just snuck under the radar, and just it's a high B tier level. It's an up there song, but I just, for some reason, it always just kind of fades away for me a little bit. But it's a really good song, though. I love it.
And I would say after after A Little Is Enough, yeah, it dips a little bit for the out.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way, and the songs aren't bad.
Yeah, I think I get my moment at that. A Little Is Enough, and then like kind of coming down after that is but it's such a good song. It just maybe gets overshadowed or like washed out with the previous track.
Angie on Empty Glass.
Yeah, it's a good one, but a bit forgettable. Like, I'm not remembering that one as well as, the other ones.
Sure. Beth?
See, I'm going to go the opposite. I think this song brings the whole album together in the themes of spirituality, and then something else that I think is kind of in the background of this record and is referenced is his relationship to alcohol, if that makes sense. Yeah, I know that he had this idea, like a lot of young people do, because he was young at the time, that you got to drink to be creative. And I think that was a real conflict for him. And I see all of that in this song. And like I say, the idea that, Ecclesiastes, and there's nothing new under the sun. I've done all of this. There's nothing new. Nothing holds anything special for me. And I've got to kind of, get back to that. This album ties it all together. This song ties the album together for me.
Right on. And we finished the album with "Gonna Get Ya," which was a big surprise for me this time because, like I said, it's kind of a denouement, but it's still very driving and ends like on a big crash. You know what I mean? And it finishes out a great album. And I'll just wrap up what I'm going to say about the album here is, like I said before, I'll read what Dave Marsh said in Before I Get Old, I guess. And I kind of agree. Empty Glass is assembled as a song cycle, a concept album, the same sense as The Who by Numbers. The songs are very personal, but they reflect a unified set of emotions: rage, frustration, fear of getting old, fear of failure, hostility towards the media, all the Townshend staples. The love songs are clear interminglings of romantic love, physical lust, and Pete's passion for Mayor Baba. Most of all, Empty Glass, which was produced by Chris Thomas, has a cohesive, brittle, abrasive, straightforward rock sound balancing with a few lighter pop tunes. That kind of sums it up for me. I love the album. What do you guys think of the last track in the record? Tom?
Perfect ending to the album. Yeah, just kind of wraps everything up, and you can tell that's literally the last song on the album. You couldn't put it anywhere else in the track listing. It was put there with purpose, and it did its job well.
Angie, anything on the last one?
Nothing bad.
Okay. Beth, one.
I feel like this is one of those songs that it kind of encompasses Pete's kind of persona, in that he's a tough guy, but behind all that tough guy is a real vulnerable person. So he kind of fronts, and that's what this song is. It's like, I'm fronting, but down deep inside, I'm very vulnerable and very sensitive. And that brings this for me. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I don't think he fronts a tough guy as good as he thinks he does.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, man, Empty Glass. You should listen to it if you haven't yet. Hopefully you did before you listen to this. I want to thank Betts and Tom and Angie, and thank everyone for coming. So yeah, get that album, and we'll talk to you soonish. Maybe we'll do a review of The Who on Colbert or something, but we got shows coming up, so
yes,
you'll probably hear from Betts. You're like 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away. Yeah, I can't believe it.
I'm so jelly. The totes of my jelly is complete.
No,
so.
I'll tag you on Twitter.
Yeah.
So happy for all of you.
All right, guys.
It's like